You will note that in Buddhist cultures and traditions, there are a lot of ideas, what they call variations in cultures and traditions in the Buddhist world. And because when Buddhism, what they call, went over to the respective countries, it merged with the local cultures and so on. So there is some regional flavoring. Okay, that's a quick overview of this particular BCT program. Now, before we go deep into the cultural and traditional aspects and what do they mean, it is important to know why Buddhism. What is Buddhism about? Of course, some of you will quickly say, oh, the Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths, which is true. But on a macro level, this particular quotation from the Mahavagga found in the Vinaya Pitaka says that the Buddha actually sent off the first 60 enlightened disciples soon after he taught the Dhamma. He mentioned, go monks on tour for the benefit of the common folk, the happiness of the common folk, out of compassion for the world, the welfare, the benefit, the happiness of gods and human beings. So from here, you can know that those who are sharing the Dhamma, particularly those who have renounced the world, they are sharing the Dhamma that they have learned from the Buddha or the traditions, the Buddhist traditions, out of compassion for the world. And what is this compassion for the world for? It is for our benefit, for our happiness, for our welfare. So we have to bear that in mind whenever we look into the various aspects in Buddhism. Now, as you know, the Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths to the first 5 ascetics in the Deer Park. And in the Four Noble Truths, the 4th Noble Truth points to the path to the ending of unsatisfactoriness, the ending of dukkha. And in dukkha, of course, dukkha can be variously translated. The common translation is suffering. And the opposite, the ending of suffering, obviously, should be happiness. And this is called the Noble Eightfold Path, comprising these 8 factors of right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Now, the key thing to note that it is a path, as shown in the picture on the right. A path is not to just look at and say, oh, it's a very beautiful path. The path is for walking on it, from getting you from where you are right now to some distance in the path. Like for similarly, in the road, every morning you take a drive or bus or LRT or whatever transport, you get from your house to your place of work and so on. So you have to go through a certain route, a route or path or road. So it gets you to somewhere. So in the case of the Noble Eightfold Path, where does this path get you to? Well, it gets you to a place of nobility. It ennobles the person who walks this path. And what is this? All the factors that on the path that ennobles you, that makes you more noble, a better person, is this 8-fold factors. It is not called Noble 8 Paths, not just 8 factors. It's 8-fold because each of the path factors, the 8 factors, reinforces each other. It works together. Okay, so walking the path ennobles you. And how do you ennoble yourself? You work on the 8 factors that support each other. That's why it's called the Noble Eightfold Path. Now, today's topic on Dāna, Pindacāra, or Pindapata, as the main title has mentioned, and Sānghika Dāna has to do with merits. So in this particular page, grounds for making merit. Now here, the Buddha in this particular sutta mentions, monks, there are these 3 grounds for making merit. What 3? One should train in deeds of merit. Now that particular sentence itself is very important. One should train in deeds of merit. Training means you have to develop, you have to practice, you must learn how to do it. Then in deeds of merit, in deeds, So train in deeds. Deeds meaning action. You have to do something. It's not a matter of just sitting on your cushion and expect something to happen. And deeds of merit. Doing what? So making merit. So this particular extract of the sutta continues. One should train in deeds of merit that yield long-lasting happiness. And what are these? It is giving, it is virtue, it is mental development. And many of you may be familiar with the Pali verses, Dana, Sila, Bhavana. Okay, these are the things, the three things we have to develop. And by cultivating these three things, deeds yielding happiness, the wise person is reborn in bliss, in an untroubled, happy world. So, in a way, this evening's session is centered on the first aspect of Dana, giving. Even Pindacāra as well as Sānghika Dāna are different aspects of Dana, of giving. All these deeds that you do, in this case, learning how to what I call perform merits through giving and so on, has to do with responsibility, that you are responsible for doing these actions. You cannot delegate it to someone else to give on your behalf. But more importantly, why are you doing it? Because the Buddha discovered underneath the Bodhi tree that there is this natural law, other than gravity, that we are all familiar with, the law of karma, the law of causation, which says that your actions by body, speech, or mind produces some kind of energy, which modern day Buddhists would call karmic energy. Now, this energy, once generated by ourselves, has a way of causing effects on our life, in this life, in future lives, and so on. So in the end, we are responsible because we make these energies, and when these energies affect our life, changes our life, cause us to experience certain things in our life, it is because of something we did previously. So in this particular sutta, the Buddha mentions, I am the owner of my deeds, heir to my deeds. Heir to my deeds is because in the next life, we inherit our own deeds, the energies that we have generated in this life and in previous lives. So deeds are my womb. The deeds you have performed affect where you are born, what you are born as, and so on. Not just that, the deeds also are my relatives. It affects who are around you, who will be your parents, your father, mother, who are your siblings, who are your uncles, aunties, and further out towards your friends even. My refuge. Refuge is something in which when there is some calamity, like say we are walking out in the street, suddenly there's a storm, rain is coming down, pouring down, we run for refuge, meaning we run to a place so that we don't get wet in that particular case. So refuge is somewhere we take shelter from calamities, from rain, from very bright sunlight, from troubles in our life, and so on. So in this case, these deeds we perform generate karma that affect the kinds of refuge available to us, if any. So in summary, I shall be the heir of whatever deeds I do, whether good or bad. So good things happen to you. Some people will call, oh, my fate is good. I have good luck. Well, it's not really luck. In a way, it is because you did something previously. And of course, if you have so-called bad luck, it's because you did something previously too. So either way, you have performed something, you are responsible for those deeds, you are also responsible for experiencing the results of those deeds. Now, let's start with the first topic, Dana, meaning giving. Now, Dana translated as giving is part of the aspect of generosity, chaga, another Pali term, also taught by the Buddha. But giving is very specific. It's a subset of generosity. Now, in the following slides, I will cover aspects on the importance and kinds of giving. Different motives, different fruits. Remember, I mentioned that when you perform deeds, you generate karmic energies which produce fruits which we experience later. So different motives, different fruits. And there are also many fruits of giving. And to whom and when should we give? And another aspect is 8 worldly individuals. Then further down, requisite for spiritual progress. That means dana or giving as a requisite for spiritual progress. And finally, the qualities of the giver. Now, this list is not exhaustive. In the Nikayas, or rather the Nikayas, there are found many lectures or suttas given by the Buddha, whether to lay people or to the monastics, on aspects of giving. And even among the enlightened disciples, they have also taught yet other disciples about different aspects of giving. You don't have to be rich to be able to give, and so on. So this is not exhaustive, and this evening we are just starting to explore some aspects of this, so that next time you perform dana or you give, please bear in mind some of these aspects which affect your quality of giving. Now, starting off here in this particular sutta taken from the Itivuttaka, sutta number 26, the Buddha mentions, if beings knew, as I know, the result of giving and sharing, they would not eat without having given, nor would they allow the stain of meanness to obsess them and take root in their minds. Okay, the Buddha knew a lot, and that's why he declared, if beings knew, as I know, the result of giving and sharing, they will not eat without having given. This is something we have to bear in mind, the power of giving. Here I show you 3 kinds of giving. Alms-Round, giving of requisites. Example, food, lodging, clothing, and so on. Okay, so we can donate, we can give requisites that support somebody. And this is the most common type of giving most of us are familiar with. The second type of giving is called Dāna, giving of fearlessness or safety or protection from danger. Now, you will notice that those terms, Alms-Round, Dāna, seems to be very long words. Actually, the language spoken by the Buddha, as in written form now, typical of Indian languages, ancient Indian languages, they tend to join a number of words together. So Dāna actually is made up of 3 words, then Baya, and Dana. So Dana we already know means giving. Baya, B-H-A-Y-A. Well, when in Sanskrit, when he came over to Malaysia, it was incorporated in the local language, and we know in the local language as Bahaya. Bahaya means danger. So B-H-A-Y-A in the ancient Indian language means fear. But you put the A in front, Abhaya means no fear. This is opposite of fear. So in this case, fearlessness, giving fearlessness. The third kind of giving is Dhamma Dāna. So Dhamma, the knowledge of the natural laws. Giving the knowledge of Dhamma, or Dhamma in this case, the natural law, not just Dhamma as in the teachings of the Buddha. Dhamma can also mean the knowledge of the natural laws of the universe. In fact, when the Buddha got enlightened underneath the Bodhi tree, he understood all the natural laws in the universe, but he only taught those key ones that affected our understanding and of life, and how to get rid of dukkha, which is the essential mission of the Buddha. So Dhamma Dāna is concerning the natural laws of the universe. And of course, if it pertains to Buddhism, is how to alleviate our encounters with dukkha, how to get away and rid of dukkha forever. That is called Dhamma Dāna. Now, the following quotation from the Dhammapada shows you the Buddha's approach to this. The gift of Dhamma excels all gifts. The taste of Dhamma excels all tastes. The delight in Dhamma excels all delights. The craving free vanquishes all suffering. Okay, this is the Dhammapada verse 354. Now let's explore in the various suttas different aspects of Dana. This is an extract from a sutta called Dana Sutta, the sutta on giving from the Anguttara Nikaya, Book of 7, sutta number 49. Now here throughout the balance of this sharing, I'll be quoting from various sections of the Nikayas, the sources where the Buddha taught and so on. And you can take notes on the name of the particular sutta or lecture and the coding AN 7.49. If you were to key this into your favorite search engine, the sutta, the whole sutta will appear. Here in this particular, this evening, I will only, what I call, extract essential passages from the suttas. But it would be good for you to actually go back and read the whole sutta to get the context and a fuller understanding as to what is going on. So in this particular page, the Buddha mentioned, this Sariputta is the cause. This is the reason why a person gives a gift of a certain sort and it does not bear great fruit or great benefit. So as we all know that when you give something, normally you generate some kind of calming energies and which result in certain what they call results coming back to you later. Now the Buddha continues. Whereas another person gives a gift of the same sort and it bears great fruit and great benefit. So this particular passage is the Buddha is teaching or discussing with the Venerable Sariputta, saying that two persons giving similar gifts, but one does not bear great fruit or great benefit, whereas for the other person giving similar things, it bears great fruit and great benefit. So this is an interesting, what I call, problem. Now, it is because of motives. Why? Because karmic energies are generated because of your intentions. When intending, you do something. So the quality of intention, regardless of your physical action, affects the results. So the sutta continues. Sariputta, there is a case where a person gives a gift seeking his own profit with a mind attached to the reward, seeking to store up for himself with the thought, I'll enjoy this after death. He gives his gift, food, drink, clothing, a vehicle, a garland, perfume, and ointment, bedding, shelter, and a lamp, to a Brahman or a contemplative. So Brahman or contemplative meaning a monk or renunciate. What do you think, Sariputta? Might a person give such a gift as this? And Sariputta replied, yes, Lord. Having given this gift, seeking his own profit, with a mind attached to the reward, seeking to store up for himself with the thought, I'll enjoy this after death, on the breakup of the body after death, reappears in the company of the four great kings. Then, having exhausted that action, that power, that status, that sovereignty, he is a returner coming back to this world. Who are the four great kings? The Chinese community would be very familiar. The picture on the right, two of them on one side of the say galaxy, and another two on the left side of the door. So there are four of them, the four great kings. In Pali, they are called the Chatu Maharajika, which is the plane of existence immediately above the human realm. Now, here the Buddha is clearly saying that even if a person, which is a very common thing anywhere in the world, that when a person gives a donation, whether offer food, offer money, offer help, that person give with the motive that I want to book a place in heaven. Okay, that is for his own profit, for his own purpose. But here the Buddha explains, after that, this person having done a meritorious deed, he still has done a meritorious deed by giving food, by offering a service, and so on. But even though he was thinking of himself, he still gets a chance to be reborn in a plane of existence higher than human realm, which means the heavenly world. In this case, the world of the four great kings. Now, then there is a case of a person who gives a gift not seeking his own profit, not with a mind attached to the reward, not seeking to store for himself, and so on. He has a thought, giving is good. So he is not thinking of himself, but he's thinking of the act, that the giving should be done because giving is good. Now, having given this gift with a thought, giving is good, on the breakup of the body, after death, this person reappears in the company of the devas of the 33. In Pali, this is called the Tavatimsa heaven, heaven of the 33, which is one step higher than the realm of existence, the four great kings plane of existence. So, but then having exhausted that action, that power, that status, that sovereignty, he is a returner coming back to this world. So just by showing that, we can already clearly see the motives affect, even though the gift may be the same in both cases. One person gave something, donated something, but with the thought that I want to gain from this action. The person still gets to go to heaven, but one step higher than the human realm, which is good. But another person who was not thinking of himself and having the thought that giving is good, he goes even higher. So the results are even better. In this particular page, I'm showing the 31 planes of existence. The human realm, the place we are in, is number 5 from the bottom. Earlier, I mentioned the four great kings, Satu Maharajika. And the heaven of the 33 is Tavatimsa, heaven number 7, higher than the realm of the four great kings. And it goes higher. So there are many, what they call heavenly worlds. As far as normal beings are concerned, just performing dana and so on, you get a chance to be born anywhere between number 5 to number 11, planes of existence up to number 11. Although there are 31 planes, if you want to go higher up, you have to, in the case of number 12 to number 22, you have to be meditators. And in this case, number 12 to 14, great Brahma, Maha Brahma, that requires that you have been able to meditate to attain the first jhana. Jhana is a unit of deep tranquility or concentration. And it goes higher if you're able to meditate to deeper states, and so on. Now, continuing this Dana Sutta, or instead of thinking giving is good, he gives a gift with a thought. This was given in the past, done in the past by my father and grandfather. It would not be right for me to let this old family custom be discontinued. So some people have this idea. So on the breakup of the body, after that, he reappears in the company of devas of the yamas, the Yama Deva world, which is even higher than the Tavatimsa. Then, having exhausted that action, that power, that status, he is a returner coming back to this world. Or instead, he gives a gift with a thought, I am well off. These are not well off. It will not be right for me being well off not to give a gift to those who are not well off. So on the breakup of the body after death, this person reappears in the company of the contented devas, to Sita realm, which is even higher up. Then, having exhausted that action, he is a returner, coming back to this world. You notice that the common characteristic across the various examples and actions resulting in different birth destinations is the fact that you generate certain kinds of karma that are able to propel you or give you opportunity to be born in the different kinds of heavens, depending on your motives of giving and so on. And then you are eligible to go there because of the wholesome karmic energies you generated. And you stay there in those realms because of a certain amount, a certain quantity of wholesome energies you generated earlier. But having used up those energies that keep you in those realms, having exhausted those energies, there's no more wholesome karmic energies left to keep you there. And therefore, when you pass away from those realms, you come back down to whichever realm, depending on your what is in your karmic makeup. It means minus the ones that propel you there. What is balanced? Some wholesome, some unwholesome, or whatever from previous lives, not taken effect yet. So that's why at the bottom it says, having exhausted that action, that power, that status, that sovereignty, he is a returner coming back to this world. And further, or instead, he gives a gift with the thought, just as there are the great sacrifices of the sages of the past, Ataka, Vamaka, and so on, so many Indian sages before the Buddha's time. In the same way, will this be my distribution of gifts? So on the breakup of the body after death, this person reappears in the company of devas who delight in creation. Oh, this is reaching very high up within the what I call karma loka. And having exhausted the action, this person comes back to this world. Or instead, he gives a gift with a thought. When this gift of mine is given, it makes the mind serene. Gratification and joy arise. So on the breakup of the body after death, he reappears in the company of the devas who have power over the creations of others. This is yet another very high level, probably realm number 11. Now, having exhausted that action, he is a returner coming back to this world. Now, or instead of thinking, when this gift of mind is given, it makes the mind serene, gratification and joy arise. He gives a gift with the thought, this is an ornament for the mind, a support for the mind. And he gives his gift, food, drink, clothing, and so on. On the breakup of the body after death, he reappears in the company of Brahma's retinue. Now, as I mentioned, Brahma's retinue means this person has given this gift and his mind is serene. That means he is getting calm, tranquil, approaching the mind of jhanic meditators. And because of that, he reappears in the company of Brahma's retinue. So plane of existence number 12 and higher. Then having exhausted the action, that power and so on, he is a non-returner. He does not come back to this world. So this, Sariputta, is the cause. This is the reason why a person gives a gift of a certain sort and it does not bear great fruit or great benefit. Whereas another person gives a gift of the same sort and it bears great fruit and great benefit. So without going to the details, the title itself tells you the main message of this particular sutta. Your motive of giving matters. The more lofty your motive, more wholesome karmic energies you generate, they qualify you to be reborn in higher and higher planes of existence. As I mentioned, when you are reborn there, you use up those energies and you typically will return to this world. Okay, unless you have practiced more. And this particular page, this person was able to have the motive of being ornament to the mind, a support for the mind. So he's developing his mind such that he's able to be a non-returner, not coming back to this world. This is a very high level practice. But it starts from the simple action of giving with the right motive. Now, this particular sutta, the Kimdada Sutta from the SN, means Samyutta Nikaya, chapter 1, sutta number 42, the Deva was asking the Buddha, a giver of what is a giver of strength? A giver of what? A giver of beauty. A giver of what? A giver of ease. A giver of what? A giver of vision. Who is a giver of everything? Being asked, please explain this to me. Now, this particular sutta is interesting. It is not a human who is asking the Buddha this question. It is a deva. That means inhabitants of higher worlds, worlds higher than the human realm. Now, to this, the Buddha responded, a giver of food is a giver of strength. A giver of clothes is a giver of beauty. A giver of a vehicle, a giver of ease. A giver of a lamp is a giver of vision. And the one who gives a residence is the one who is a giver of everything. But the one who teaches the Dhamma is a giver of deathless, of the deathless. Now, the person who teaches the Dhamma, in this case, the Buddha is a giver of Dhamma, and he's a giver of the deathless. Because when you attain enlightenment, it means become an arahat, you attain nibbana, as most people will say. But what is nibbana? It is the deathless state. Once you attain that, you will not die anymore, because you will not be reborn anymore. Now, going on, now this particular sutta, Siha Senapati Sutta from the Anguttara Nikaya, book of 5, sutta number 34. Here is, now, Siha is general Siha. Now, it is not the case that I, general Siha, go by conviction. Conviction, in this case, saddha or faith in the Blessed One with regard to them. I know them too. So the Buddha was talking about different aspects of giving. So general Siha bears witness. I'm one who gives, a master of giving, dear and charming to people at large. Good people, people of integrity, admire me. My fine reputation is spread far and wide. Siha is generous, a doer, a supporter of the Sangha. When I approach any assembly of people, noble warriors, Brahmans, householders, or contemplatives, I do so confidently and without embarrassment. Okay. So, many fruits of giving. Now, that particular was the concluding statement. But how did it all start? Well, General Siha was having a conversation with the Buddha, and General Siha posed this question to the Buddha. Is it possible, Lord, to point out a fruit of giving? Dhamma palang. Dana means giving. Palang, P-H-A-L-A, pala means fruit. So Dana palang means the fruit of giving, visible in the here and now, sandittikang. Now, as you know, if you remember the qualities when you recite in a puja, the qualities of the Dhamma, at some point there is mention of the term sandittiko. Sandittiko is here and now. The Dhamma is visible here and now. It means the effects of this natural law are visible in this life. When you do certain actions, the results of it bear fruit in this life, and you can witness them yourself. You don't have to die to see, oh, I only get my results after I die. This is not the case. The fruit of Dhamma depending on what kind of actions you do, can be visible here and now. So in this case, General Siha was asking the Buddha this question. And the Buddha responded, "It is possible, Siha, one who gives, who is a master of giving, is dear and charming to people at large. And the fact that who gives, who is a master of giving, is dear and charming to people at large. This is the fruit of giving, visible in the here and now. Further, good people, people of integrity, admire one who gives, who is a master of giving. And the fact that good people, people of integrity, admire one who gives, who is a master of giving, this too is a fruit of giving, visible in the here and now." So that means it affects your relationship with other people. Furthermore, the fine reputation of one who gives, who is a master of giving, is spread far and wide. And the fact that the fine reputation of one who gives, who is a master of giving, is spread far and wide, this too is a fruit of visible here and now. Furthermore, when one who gives, who is a master of giving, approaches an assembly of people, noble warriors, Brahmans, householders, or contemplatives, he or she does so confidently and without embarrassment. And the fact that when one gives, who is a master of giving, approaches any assembly of people, noble warriors, Brahmans, householders, or contemplatives, he or she does so confidently and without embarrassment. This too is a fruit of giving, visible in the here and now. Furthermore, at the breakup of the body after death, one who gives, who is a master of giving, reappears in a good destination, the heavenly world. And the fact that the breakup of the body after death, one who gives, who is a master of giving, reappears in a good destination in the heavenly world, this is the fruit of giving in the next life. So giving generates wholesome coming energies that enable you to be born in the good destination in the heavenly world. Now, when this was said, General Siha said to the Blessed One, "As for the four fruits of giving, visible in the here and now, that have been pointed out by the Blessed One, it is not the case that I go by conviction or faith in the Blessed One with regard to them. I know them too. I'm one who gives, master of giving, dear and charming to people at large. Good people, people of integrity, admire me. My fine reputation is spread far and wide. Siha is generous, a doer, a supporter of the Sangha. When I approach any assembly of people, I do so confidently and without embarrassment." So General Siha, attests to the effects of the here and now of his giving, the results of it. And he continues, "But when the Blessed One says to me, at the breakup of the body after death, one who gives, who is a master of giving, reappears in the good destination, the heavenly world, that I do not know. This is where I go by conviction or faith in the Blessed One." So the Buddha replied, "So it is, Siha, so it is. At the breakup of the body after death, one who gives, who is a master of giving, reappears in a good destination, the heavenly world." So the import of this particular sutta is clear, that when you are generous, perform a lot of giving to various candidates, what happens? You see results in the here and now, in this very life. And of course, also in the hereafter. That's why the title is called Many Fruits of Giving. Okay. Hopefully you understood the few points that I shared earlier. Now do type your responses to this particular question in the chat box. What are the three kinds of giving? A, B, C, D, E. Okay, there should be 3 answers, not 4 or 2. Most of you have given the correct answer. The answer should be B, D, and E. D being requisites, D meaning fearlessness. Remember, Āmisa-dāna, Abhaya-dāna, and Dhamma-dāna. And Dhamma, not advice. Okay, continuing. Vacha Sutta from the Anguttara Nikaya, Book of 3, Sutta number 57. To whom should we give? So when you give, you always have 3 aspects. One is the giver, one is the gift, and one is the recipient. In this case, who is the recipient? Now, the Buddha says, even if a person throws the rinsings of a bowl or a cup into a village pool or pond, thinking, may whatever animals live here feed on this, that would be a source of merit, to say nothing of what is given to human beings. So even that little bit of rinsings also, and if you have that mental makeup, thinking of may those living beings in the pond or the pool, may they be well and happy and benefit from your rinsings, then you will generate wholesome calming energies for yourself because you have the right motivation. The Buddha continues, but I do say that what is given to a virtuous person is of great fruit, and not so much what is given to an unvirtuous person. Here is a very important aspect. Between 2 human beings, who would you give to, prefer to give to? And the Buddha clearly says, when you give to a virtuous person, your actions bear great fruit. If you give to an unvirtuous person, you will get returns. That means some kind of result, but it will not be great. So the obvious answer is, most of us would prefer to look out for virtuous persons. But who are these virtuous persons, we may ask? And the Buddha continues, and the virtuous person has abandoned 5 factors and is endowed with 5. So abandoned 5 and endowed with 5. So what are these 5? 5 and 5. Which 5 has he abandoned? He has abandoned sensual desire, kamacanda. He has abandoned ill will, vyapada. He has abandoned sloth and drowsiness, tinamida. He has abandoned restlessness and anxiety, uddhacca and kukucca. And number 5 is abandoned uncertainty and doubt, vicikicca. So these are the 5 factors he has abandoned. So if you are able to identify people who have abandoned these 5 or any number of these, then the person is higher up in the ladder of virtuousness. What are the 5 factors that this person possess? The entire spectrum of an adept or beyond training, asekana. That means a person who is beyond training. This person is clearly one who is enlightened, beyond training. So in this case, the person possesses ethics or moral background. He has samadhi, immersion, means mental immersion or deep tranquility and concentration. This person has wisdom, panya. This person is free, mentally free, vimutti. And he has knowledge and vision of freedom, vimutti, jnana, dasana. These are the 5 factors they possess. So the Buddha continues, I tell you, what is given to one who has abandoned these 5 factors and is endowed with these 5 bears great fruit, mahapala. Now, continuing to this sutta from the Anguttara Nikaya, Book of 8, Sutta number 59, we talk about the 8 individuals who are worthy of gifts, worthy of hospitality, worthy of offerings, worthy of reverential salutation, who are an unsurpassed field of merit for the world. Now, these 8 individuals, Atta Pugala, are also mentioned in the, when you chant the, what you call, salutation to the Sangha. That means the qualities of the Arya Sangha, qualities of the enlightened community of monks. And and they are mentioned in the Buddha, in the recital, there's mentioned 8 individuals. And which are these? What comprises these 8 individuals? The one who has entered the stream. That means this person has practiced so much that this person has already, what they call, uplifted himself or herself from being a mere worldling, a putujana, and has entered the what they call the Arya stream. That is number 1, who has entered the stream of the nobles. Number 2, the one who has entered upon the course for the realization of the fruit of stream entry. So this person has entered the program for the realization of the fruit of stream entry. And similarly, the one's returner and the one who has entered upon the course for the realization of the fruit of one's returning. This is a stage of second stage of sainthood, Sakadagami. The first, number 1 and 2, are referring to those who have entered or attained Sotapan. 5 and 6, the non-returner. Number 6, the one who has attended upon the course for the realization of the fruit of non-returning. This is the Anagamis. Number 7 and 8, the Arahat. Number 8, the one who has attended upon the course for Arahatship. That means the fully enlightened disciple. These are the 8 individuals. So these are the 8 individuals who are worthy of gifts, worthy of hospitality, worthy of offerings, worthy of reverential salutation, the unsurpassed field of merit for the world. The last portion of this sentence, the unsurpassed field of merit for the world, is that if you are able to go about, you want to perform giving, to perform dana, look out for these 8 kinds of individuals. If you find them and you give to them, to perform dana towards them with a wholesome motivation, that you generate a lot of merit, because these are very virtuous persons. As I mentioned earlier, chaga means generosity, dana being giving. Giving is of course a subset of generosity. So in this particular sutta, the Buddha says, because there are these 3 bases of meritorious activity. What 3? The basis of meritorious activity consisting in giving, consisting in virtuous behavior, and consisting in meditative development. And this sutta is called the Punya Kriya Vatu Sutta. Punya means merits. Kriya is to do with actions. So meritorious actions in this case. From the Anguttara Nikaya Book of 8, Sutta number 36. Now the first iteration, here because someone has practiced the basis of meritorious activity consisting in giving to a limited extent, virtuous behavior to a limited extent, and not undertaken any meditative development. With the breakup of the body after death, this person is reborn among humans in an unfavorable condition. That means there is not enough wholesome karmic energies generated earlier by this person to for the person to be born as a human and one who has favorable conditioned humans. Because some humans appear to be living in heaven because they are well supported and so on. Number 2, someone else has practiced the basis of meritorious activity consisting in giving to a middling extent, virtuous behavior to a middling extent, and still, in this case, not undertaken meditative development. Not undertaken meditative development means this person has not even tried to practice meditation or learn meditation, but has been giving to the middling extent, have been virtuous, practicing sila or moral behavior to a middling extent. So on the break of the body after death, this person is reborn among humans in a favorable condition, which means this person has generated enough wholesome karmic energies to result in him being born human again, but in a favorable condition, means a more comfortable life. And number 3, someone else has practiced the basis of meritorious activity, consisting in giving to a superior extent, virtuous behavior to a superior extent, and yet still not undertaken meditative development. So in this case, this person has been giving and cultivating virtuous behavior to a superior extent, and when after break up the body after death, this person is reborn in the companionship with the devas ruled by the 4 great kings. So this person has generated enough wholesome karmic energies to disqualify him or herself to be born as a human, instead getting himself propelled to a higher plane of existence, one plane of existence higher than the human realm, the realm of the 4 great kings. And all this person has not even done any meditation. What more if you do? Now, Macharya Suttas, there are a few suttas from the Anguttara Nikaya Book of 5, requisite for spiritual progress. Dana is also required for to support your spiritual progress for those who would like to move on and hopefully one day attain Nibbana. So without abandoning these 5 qualities, one is incapable of entering and remaining in the first jhana. As I mentioned earlier, jhana is a unit of tranquility, of concentration. As the numbers get higher, it gets deeper and deeper. So first jhana is the first level. Going deeper, the second jhana, the third jhana, and the fourth jhana. There are, of course, other even deeper jhanas, but the Buddha normally talks about the first, second, third, and fourth jhana. So in this case, incapable of entering and remaining in these jhanas, incapable of realizing the fruit of stream entry, it means attaining sotapan, incapable of realizing the fruit of once returning, Satakagami, incapable of realizing the fruit of non-returning, Anagami, and not capable of attaining Arahatship. So because this person has not, so which 5? Stinginess as to one's monastery or lodgings, stinginess as to one's family of supporters, in the case of monks, stinginess as to one's gains, stinginess as to one's status, and ingratitude. So stinginess, clearly things which are against giving. So without abandoning these 5 qualities, one is incapable of entering and remaining in the first jhana, second, third, or fourth jhana. And as a result, one is incapable of realizing sotapan, sakagami, anagami, or even arahatship. It means not able to attain various stages of enlightenment. So with the abandoning of these 5 qualities, one is capable of entering and remaining in the first jhana, the second jhana, the third, the fourth, and also is capable of realizing sotapan, sakadagami, anagami, and arahatship. So clearly, stinginess is a what they call a hindrance. So you need to cultivate giving and generous qualities within your character. Now, how a person of integrity gives a gift? How do you give? So the Sutta, the Sānghika Dāna from the Anguttara Nikaya Book of 5. These 5 are a person of integrity's gifts. Which 5? A person of integrity gives a gift with a sense of conviction, confidence, or faith, saddha. If this person gives a gift attentively or carefully, not just throwing whatever gift at the recipient. A person of integrity gives a gift in season or at the right time when it's needed. It gives with an emphatic heart with no strings attached. It means the person is not expecting any returns, without adversely affecting or hurting himself or others. So the qualities of giving, how you should give. And when should you give? In this Sānghika Dāna Sutta from the Anguttara Nikaya, Book of 5 again, mendicants, there are these 5 timely gifts. What 5? A gift to a visitor, a gift to someone setting out on a journey, a gift to someone who's sick, a gift at a time of famine, presenting the freshly harvested grains and fruits first to those who are ethical. So again, the highest level will be those who are ethical, who are virtuous, and you give this gift. The pictures on the right show the various activities at Sri Lanka Buddhist Temple in Sentu, Kuala Lumpur during the earlier raising funds and shipping in kind to Sri Lanka for those floods and so on. So the wise give at the right time, being kind and rid of stinginess. A religious donation at the right time to the noble ones, upright and poised, given with a clear and confident mind, is indeed abundant. So those who rejoice at that or do other services don't miss out on the offering. They too have a share in the merit. So you should give without holding back. Where a gift is very fruitful, the good deeds of sentient beings support them in the next world. Okay, moving on to different kinds of giving. In this case, the topic of Pindacāra, going on Alms-Round. Here, in this topic, we'll cover observance by Theravada monks. What is Pindacāra? What is Pindapāta? And the conduct of going on Alms-Round. How should the monks and the lay people who offer, how should they conduct themselves also? Now, what is Pindacāra? Now, Pindacāra, the practice of collecting alms food, is observed by Theravada Buddhist monks who have gone forth from home life to homelessness. A Buddhist monk is known in Pali language as a bhikkhu, meaning one who lives on alms. Now, the term Pindacāra is a synthesis of 2 words. Combination of words in Pali and Indian languages are commonplace, as I mentioned earlier. Pinda and Chara in this case. Now, Pinda itself meaning a lump of food, making into a lump. I think the pictures speak for themselves very clearly for those who are familiar. And Chara meaning to go about, but not wandering aimlessly. The important thing is not wandering aimlessly. Hence, Pindacāra means to go about for the purpose of collecting alms food. Now, coming to the term, what is Pindapāta? Made up of 2 words, Pinda and Pata. Means food that is collected in a bowl, as Pata refers to the alms bowl. So as the picture clearly shows, Pata, the alms bowl of the monks. So as Pinda is the food and Pata is the bowl, which means food that is collected in this alms bowl. A little bit more grammar. Charika refers usually to the person who is going around, as often implied by the suffix ika, as in Chara ika, giving rise to Chara ika. Now, Charika can also mean wandering about instead of going on Alms-Round. Now, the bottom note in white is of importance. This was extracted from an article, Reaping Merits Again and Again, by Ayasma Agachita from Sasanaraka Buddhist Sanctuary. Now, most people understand Pindacāra to mean begging for alms. This is the common usage in many parts of the world, where Pindacāra refers to going on alms round. But grammatically or strictly speaking, however, Pindacāra means alms food. As mentioned, Pinda is the food, the lump of food, Pata is the bowl. So alms food in the way, alms food in the bowl. While Pindacāra means walking for alms, as explained by Ayasma Agajita. So back to this. Thus, Pindapata Pascharika means the person who wanders in search of alms, and not precisely the going on alms round. Thus, Pindacāra is the proper, direct, and suitable term to refer to going on alms round. Now, the conduct of going on alms round. Now, since the time of the Buddha, lay people have been supporting monks this way with food, robes, shelter, medicine, and so on. Monks provide, the purpose of the monk is they provide guidance to the laity on Buddhist teachings, thus forging a close, respectful, and symbiotic relationship between the two communities, the renunciates, and the lay people. This is why when what they call Anathapindika had a conversation with the Buddha gave instructions to him when he wanted to donate, or rather to buy some land, build some buildings, to be able to build a monastery called Jetavana. Today it's called Jetavana Monastery. The Buddha gave some specifications that this monastery should not be in town. It should not be in some wilderness far away from people, but it should be suitably distant, so that we don't have Tom, Dick, and Harry simply walking up to the monastery to disturb the monks and nuns who are practicing, but reasonably distant, so that these Tom, Dick, and Harry would not come over and disturb, and yet lay people who want to listen to the Dhamma are able to do so reasonably. So not too far, not too near. So this helps to build a symbiotic relationship between the monastic Sangha and the lay community. Monks consume food between the break of dawn. In Kuala Lumpur, it's typically around 7 a.m. Of course, it changes with the seasons. And noon. Thus, he does not go about collecting alms food after midday. So if you see any monks going around after midday, those are likely bogus monks. And certainly, monks should not appear in Pasar Malam in the Malaysian context. Monks go on Pindacāra, mindfully observing noble silence. He does not engage in talking or chatting with others. So this is the code of practice for the monks. The alms bowl is only used to receive cooked food offered by willing donors. The monk strictly does not accept money with his bowl or on his alms round. So any monk coming up to you asking you to put money in this bowl, you can conclude that this monk is a bogus monk. Offering alms food to monks allow lay people to acquire merits as a result of their kind intentions and actions. In earlier pages, I've already shown you, especially for some of these monks, may be well into their practice, may have attained various stages of nobility, of sainthood, and as such, they are an incomparable field of merit. They are very virtuous, and if you were to offer, give dana, or even put food into the alms bowl of these venerables, the amount of merits you generate are enormous. Okay, coming to another set of questions. Which of the following are how one should give to a monastic? A, B, C, D, E. Type in your chat box, please. Okay, good response. So the correct answer is A, B, and D. Most of you got it correct. Clearly, you should be giving attentively, carefully, with faith, with confidence, and at the right time. Okay, moving to another topic, Sānghika Dāna, giving to the Sangha. Now here we'll cover various aspects of how to give, which in a way we'll cover some of it earlier already, but I'm referring to another sutta which touches on this also. The scale of giving. There are many kinds of giving, and this particular sutta is of interest because the Buddha shares with us different kinds of giving, what they call yields different amounts of merits. And finally, what is Sānghika Dāna? What constitutes Sānghika Dāna? Now, this sutta that I refer to is the Velama Sutta from the Anguttara Nikaya, Book of 9. Now, I've only provided excerpts from this sutta, so I'm not giving the whole sutta. But these first few pages talk about how to give a gift. So at one time, the Buddha was staying near Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, as I mentioned earlier, Ānanda Pindika's monastery. Then the householder, Ānanda Pindika, went up to the Buddha, bowed, and sat down to one side. And the Buddha mentioned, householder, someone might give a gift that's either cause or fine, but they give it carelessly, thoughtlessly, not with their own hand. They give the dregs or leftovers. They give the leftovers and they give without consideration for consequences. Now, the results of this giving carelessly. Then, wherever the result of any such gift manifests, their mind doesn't incline toward enjoyment of nice food, clothes, vehicles, or the 5 refined kinds of sensual stimulation. And their children, wives, bond servants, employees, and workers don't want to listen to them. They don't pay attention or try to understand. Why is that? Because that is the result of deeds done carelessly. So the karmic result of deeds done carelessly. Now, if we were to give a gift carefully, someone might give a gift that's either cause or fine, and they give it carefully, thoughtfully, with their own hand. That means they serve directly, not delegate someone to do it for you. They do not give leftovers. They give with consideration for consequences. Then, wherever the result of any such gift manifests, their mind inclines towards enjoyment of nice food, clothes, vehicles, and the fine, refined kinds of sensual stimulation. And their children, wives, bond servants, employees, and workers want to listen. They pay attention and try to understand. Why is that? Because that is the result of deeds done carefully. So it's clear what you need to do when next time you want to give something to another person, especially to the monastics. This is something you must take into account. Now, scale of giving. Now I have skipped over the first portion, householder, dash, dash, dash. I continue. I myself was a Brahman Velama at that time. I gave that gift, a great offering. So the earlier section of the sutta, the Buddha was describing many lifetimes ago, he was reborn as Velama. When he was just an ordinary Putujana, he was reborn as Velama. And he organized a great offering full of not just food, but items and everything. Here, the sutta continues. But at that event, there was no one worthy of a religious donation and no one to purify the religious donation. Now, here the important messages start. Number 2, it would be more fruitful to feed one person accomplished in view, Diti Sampanyanang, than that great offering, Mahadana of Velama. So number 1, the earlier paragraph talks about Velama offering a great offering. But in this case, the Buddha is saying that if you feed one person who has right view, it is more fruitful than having a giant offering for what they call unworthy people around you. Number 3, it would be more fruitful to feed one's returner, Sakadagami, than 100 persons accomplished in view. Now here we are saying that it is even the karmic energy generated if you were to feed one person who has attained the second stage of sainthood, that even 100 persons accomplished in view, in a way probably pointing towards that person being not just of right view, but probably attained Sotapan himself. Moving higher up, it will be more fruitful to feed one non-returner anagami. It means third stage of sainthood, the person who is an anagami, to feed one anagami than to feed 100 once returners. Number 5, it will be more fruitful to feed one perfected one, arahat, than 100 non-returners. And number 6, it would be more fruitful to feed one Buddha awakened for themselves, a Pacheka Buddha, than 100 arahats. Now, here I keep on mentioning Sotapan, Sakadagami, Anagami, and arahats. What do you mean by them? Now, the Buddha discovered there are these 10 fetters or defilements. So here, lower down in the pink box, we have ordinary people like us, Putujanas. Ordinary people is not a measure of how smart you are, what your IQ level is, or how rich you are. As long as you have these 10 defilements, you are an ordinary person. You are a Putujana. But for those who have uprooted some from these 10 defilements, the person is classified as a noble one, an Arya. So the first stream winner, or those who have attained the first stage of sainthood, or in Pali, they call it the Sotapanna, the person has uprooted personality belief, Sakaya Ditti. The person has uprooted skeptical doubt, Vicikicca. Has uprooted what they call clinging to mere rules and rituals, Silabata Paramasa. Now, the second stage of sainthood, or second stream winner, Sakadagami, this person has toned down, not uprooted, but toned down sensual craving, Kamachanda, has toned down ill will, Vyapada. And if this person has, another person has uprooted Kamachanda and Vyapada, this person has attained Anagami, the third stage of sainthood, or the third stream winner. And you notice, up to the third stage of sainthood, out of the 10 defilements, this person has already uprooted 5 defilements. And the next would be the fourth stage, arahat, full enlightenment. Any candidate will have to uproot the balance 5. So making a total of 10 defilements. Now the Buddha is also known as an arahat because he has uprooted all these 10. So as his enlightened disciples also. So all of them have one thing in common. All of them are arahats. Arahats mean a person who has uprooted this list of 10 defilements. But the Buddha has other qualities. That's why he can teach and so on. Now, continuing the scale of offering in the Velama Sutta. Number 7, it will be more fruitful to feed one realized one, a perfected one, a fully awakened Buddha. Basically, to feed a Sammasambuddha than 100 Pachika Buddha. Okay. And number 8, it will be more fruitful to feed the mendicant Sangha headed by the Buddha than to feed one Sammasambuddha. So here we are talking about the Sangha. Sangha in this case, not just a community of monks, but the Arya Sangha, the enlightened community of monks headed by the Buddha. And if you offer dana to this group, it is even more than to feed one, to feed one Sammasambuddha. Now notice this sutta is talking about number 9. There are other higher stages which I've not reproduced. If you want to know, please read the Velama Sutta in full. I will stop here at this number 8. Moving on, what is Sānghika Dāna, giving to the Sangha? Now, there are Ānanda 7 religious donations bestowed on the Sangha. What 7? One gives a gift to the communities of both monks and nuns headed by the Buddha while the Buddha is still alive. Of course, today that is not possible. Number 2, communities of both monks and nuns after the Buddha has finally become extinguished, means the Buddha has passed away, attained parinibbana. So this is possible today. Number 3, Sangha of monks. Now, all these are referring to enlightened monks. Number 4, Sangha of nuns. So the community of enlightened nuns. And it continues, appoint this many monks and nuns for me from the Sangha. So sometimes a layperson may approach the community of monks and request a group of monks and nuns to represent the whole of the Sangha so that I can perform dana, offering of food and requisites to these representatives comprising monks and nuns. So this group, number 5, can also be, the dana can be called Sānghika Dāna because you request from the Sangha. Number 6, appoint this many monks for me from the Sangha. So the request may be to the community of monks that they appoint representatives of monks so that you can perform Sānghika Dāna. And those monks that come and you do the offering is classified as Sānghika Dāna. Similarly, for number 7, appoint this many nuns for me from the Sangha. So if this request is made to the community of nuns and the nuns send appropriate number, those nuns represent the entire community of enlightened nuns. And when you offer to these nuns, it is classified as Sānghika Dāna, offering to the Sangha. The Buddha continues, I say a religious donation bestowed on the Sangha is incalculable and immeasurable. So this is of great benefit. But I say that there is no way a personal offering can be more fruitful than one bestowed on a Sangha. So this is an important message to take note of. So in all, you notice there are groups of virtuous people we can offer to, we can give to. These are the Sangha members. Or if we were to give to virtuous people. But all in all, is to do with cultivation. Whether you're a monk or a lay person, we should refrain from what is unwholesome, what is rooted in greed, hatred, and delusion. That is unwholesome. We should cultivate or be steadfast in good qualities, in cultivating and developing more and more good qualities. So all those actions rooted in no greed, no hatred, and no delusion. And all this practice of offering dana, even perfecting your offering of dana, takes time. So in this particular case, the Buddha mentions that the ocean has a gradual shell, a gradual slope, a gradual inclination with a sudden drop-off only after a long stretch. In the same way, this doctrine and discipline, or Dhamma Vinaya, the Buddha didn't call this teaching Buddhism. He called these 45 years of teaching Dhamma Vinaya, the doctrine and the discipline. So in the same way, this Dhamma Vinaya has a gradual training, gradual performance, gradual progression with penetration to enlightenment only after a long stretch. So everything is step by step, but you have to start from somewhere. And as we do this, it is said by the Blessed One, with regard to external factors, there are internal factors, but in this case, the Buddha is talking about external factors. I don't envision any other single factor like admirable friendship as doing so much for a monk in training who has not attained the heart's goal, but remains intent on the unsurpassed safety from bondage. Now, although the Buddha is giving this advice to monks, the same advice, admirable friendship, applies to us lay people also. Because to practice alone is difficult. And therefore, if we can look out for suitable friends, hopefully they can be kalyana mita, those who can guide us along the way. We will make friends with them, can help each other and progress along the path. And this particular advice will also apply to lay people. Admirable friendship helps us move along the path to enlightenment faster and more steadily. So a monk who is a friend with admirable people abandons what is unskillful, develops what is skillful. Same like the other page, the Mangala Sutta, which mentioned avoiding of unwholesome actions and developing good actions. So here the Buddha used abandon what is unskillful and develops what is skillful. A monk with admirable people as friends, who is reverential, respectful, doing what his friends advise, mindful, alert, attains step by step the ending of all fetters or ending of all defilements. In short, attaining enlightenment. So friends are key to your progress along the path. Now, praises and so on from practicing and rejoicing from practicing the Dhamma. So a wise person seeing his own good, steadfast, secures confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. One who practices the Dhamma here on earth and after that rejoices in heaven. So clearly, you notice the number of suttas I've shown you. Essentially, the message is the same, that you have to practice steadfast and have confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, refrain from unskillfulness, cultivate skillfulness, and so on. And even before you attain Nibbana, you will reach the heavens. So in summary, all of the Buddha's 45 years of teaching can be summarized in this Dhammapada verse 183 from the Kuttaka Nikaya. Sabba papasa akaranang kusalasa upasampada sacitta pariyodapanang etang buddhana sasana. Avoid evil to do good, purifying your mind. This is the teaching of the Buddhas. So this Dhammapada verse is important because it not just tells us the key messages, the key teachings of the Buddhas, not just the Gautama, the Buddha, but also tells us in simple form what we need to do in our everyday life, that we need to avoid evil and to do good, and ultimately to purify the mind to attain enlightenment.